Thank you, Your Excellency. We remember you speaking at your graduation in 1995. 21 years later, we have you back addressing the class of 2016 and 2017. Thank you. We will commence with the first panel themed Challenges in the Workplace. I would like to welcome our moderator for this panel, Maniam Reikhi, class of 2000, Head of Communication at Economic Zones World JAVZA.
Thank you, Mahra. I think I have two panelists already on the stage. I'll call the rest quickly. Shafia Jaziri, class of 2003. She's a lawyer at Jafar Alwan Al Jaziri Associates and Legal Consultants. Noor Belhol, Administrator at Strategy Section, Ministry of Education. Alia Shamsi, class of 2000, photographer and book author. Hind Siddiqui, Chief Marketing Officer at Ahmed Siddiqui & Sons. And Mariam Al-Afridi, Director of Marketing and Corporate Communication at Dubai Media Inc. Thank you, ladies, for coming. I think I need to move my... All right, ladies. I would like to start the panel by asking each panelist to very briefly describe themselves in their workplace, and then we'll go into the questions. I will start with Noor.
Good morning. I'm currently working at, I'm having two jobs. First, I'm working at the Ministry of Education and Strategy Department, and I'm working my side job that I'm doing is I'm working as a PR in a flowers and events company. So totally two different areas.
So you have a lot of challenges to share with us today. Hind?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having us here today. So I work for a family business, basically. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer at the company. I sit at the executive committee where we take executive decisions as well. But most importantly, even though my name is linked to the name of the company, I'm still an employee in that company. So that's who I am.
Thank you, Hind.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Shafia Al-Jaziri. I work with my father. I'm a lawyer. A lawyer doesn't just mean we go to court and we deal with problems. No, we try to solve them. I graduated, like they said, class 2003. And I'll pass the mic to Mariam.
Thank you, Shafia.
صباح الخير. My name is Mariam Al-Afridi. The scouts already know me الحين خلاص. رائدات. Yoo! Okay, I work for Dubai Media Inc. And the challenges are really big because we deal with not only internal conflicts within the organization, but we deal with also the media in the whole country and even the media in the world. Like anything that relates to Dubai, any show that we have on our channels, like Ahlam, the Queen, I have to deal with this. So these are the challenges that I face on a daily basis.
Morning, everyone. My name is Ali Al-Shamsi. I'm a photojournalist, and recently wrote a book, a children's book. So I've got that too going on. And also planning to start up an art consultancy. Recently got a certificate from Sotheby's. So yeah.
Thank you, Ali. And I'll start with you, actually, since you have the mic.
Okay.
Alia, what are you're an author, you're a photographer, two different fields. What are your challenges that you faced while you started your career?
Oh, if we go back, okay, so my first was working as a photojournalist for Emirat al-Yawm and Emirates Today at that time. It was a challenge because I wasn't given a camera. I was there for 2 weeks. I had to use my own because they thought I'd quit. I was the only woman in a team filled with, it was only guys, so they didn't think I could last that long. And I had to prove myself, you know, and so I stood there, took photos behind the scenes, and they're like, oh, actually, you know, let's order her a camera. Next thing that I know, I was sent to cover the earthquake in Pakistan. Yeah, I was the only one. Yeah, and it's fun. I mean, it's great. You know, like sometimes I walk into an office and say, oh, hi, I'm Ali Shamsi, photojournalist. I'm here to take your photograph. And they're like, oh, تحسبنا علي الشامسي. So, you know, surprises like that. I mean, you know, coming from Waqib, I think it was great because I was in an environment that promoted women can do anything. So I really didn't think it was strange for me to be in a field filled with men, you know.
But as a woman, we are also very emotional and very sensitive. Going to Pakistan, did you have any fear of actually getting on that plane and doing the coverage on ground?
Yes. I mean, I think when we first reached to Karachi, I had a difficult night. I cried it all out that night, and then you just go into professional mode. I'm not sure how I managed to do it. I was very young. I was only 22. So seeing these things and actually feeling the aftershocks, because we went up to Muzaffarabad and there was no electricity, there was no water, and we could feel the aftershocks like under, and the children. It's not easy. It's not easy, but there's a sense of purpose. You know, when you know you're there for something that's very important, for news, for the world to see that we need help, then it just makes it more, let's say, you know, there for a reason. So.
Wow, very impressive, Alia. Noor, being in the Ministry of Education, in a strategy department, and also being an event organizer, what are the challenges you had to face in either of the fields?
Actually, in both fields, there's one challenge that I'm facing is that people underestimate my abilities. Looking at, whenever I go out and speak to them, they try to look at someone else standing behind me probably, or who's higher in position than myself. Which at first I was like, why? Why are you underestimating me? Again, going back to an example with Ms. Elisar, I remember when I was grade 11 as Raid, I wanted to meet Major General Dahi Khilfan. And I knocked on her door. I said, can I organize this? And so that we can go and meet him? She's like, go ahead. So I told her, are you serious? She's like, yes. And I did all the phone calls, and then we went with Mr. Michel as well, and Mahra, and we met him, and I still have the photo with me. From that moment, I know that I have the abilities, since, I mean, as long as the person who's in higher position gives me the authority and trusts me and give me that confidence, I am able to do anything that I want to do.
And as an event organizer, what are your challenges today?
Especially with the stereotype that me with the hijab and all, and then they come to me, they try to look at someone else organizing an event, but when I start talking, whether in the ministry or in the event as well, when I started to talk and they understand that I'm knowledgeable and I have the knowledge, as we say, knowledge is power, they respect me, and they have a total different perception, yeah.
So don't judge a book by its cover. Hind Siddiqui, you are working with your father. How challenging is that?
It's not, I don't only work with my father. That would be easy. I work with my uncle, I work with cousins. It's very challenging when you work for a family business because, like Noor said, people have perceptions. So I never went in, thinking that I'm going to be, the chairman or chairman's, niece and the vice chairman's daughter, and, and I can do anything I want. So to gain the trust of the employees and to make them feel that you are part of them and you're not better than them was a challenge. I was very young and I had to deal with media, and Mariam is here, and being 21 and to deal with the press and the media, they walk in and they look at, oh, who's this girl, this little girl, and they think, you don't know what you're doing here. That's a challenge that I faced. And another challenge, which a lot of girls think it's a challenge, but for me was very comfortable, maybe because at Al Mawakib School we grow around, it's true that we are not, a mixed school, but we mingle and we know how to deal with our colleagues from the boys section. So to be seated in a room filled with men and you're the only girl could be intimidating, but more than anything, the challenges is the challenges of people's perceptions. And that's where you have to prove yourself and work and show them that their perception is absolutely wrong.
So by taking a positive perspective of things,
Exactly.
you prove your ability. Thank you, Hind. Shafia Jaziri.
Yeah.
Can I call you Shafu or it's not?
Of course,
allowed?
yeah, everyone calls me Shafua.
Shafia, you're a lawyer,
Yes, I am.
and tell us about your challenges in your workplace.
Okay, so my challenges started before working, when my parents never agreed for me to do law. I always wanted to study law, and they just refused. My father is a lawyer, so he said, you'll already have your problems. You're going to go for other people's problems? So why do this? I studied business for a year, trying to convince them, and I did it. I went into law school. That was my first challenge, my parents. The second challenge was everything was in Arabic. When I say everything, I mean even computer. We studied computer in English, and I had to understand everything in Arabic, whether it was economics, al-faqra, which is mouse in Arabic, and that was the funniest thing, and I still remember it. Then when I started working in the field, people saw me, like Hind said, young. Some of them were intimidated because my father was part of the firm, so they didn't want to give me work. They tried to be nice and say, yeah, you can do this, you can photocopy something, but I took it. I took anything that was given to me. I did translations, photocopying, anything I can do to start growing. I would read anything they would give me to photocopy to learn. So yeah, that was another challenge.
That's very important when you don't underestimate yourself and look down on the task that's given to you. Thank you, Shafia.
You're welcome.
Mariam, being in media, and I think she already did the media coverage of us being on the panel. I'm sure it's live on social media. Mariam, as a woman being in media, as a UAE lady, what were your challenges?
I had a lot of challenges, but to start with, I did not study media, and I did not plan to be in media. I studied software engineering, and I used to work in the trade and logistics field. So numbers, economy, trade, in and out. On Wednesday, I would remember this day, at 1:30 p.m., I received a letter from my boss saying that tomorrow is your last day here in the Department of Economic Development and you have to hand over everything. And I want to see you as part of my team in Dubai Media Inc. on Sunday. I did not have any background in media. It was a new industry and a new field. He trusted me. He believed in me. He promoted me to report directly to the board there because he was the head of DED and DMI. So that was the first challenge, stepping into media with no background, like what to say, how to say. And I had to literally, I was accountable of every single press release that would go in the newspapers, in Arabic, again. So it was a challenge for me to join a media industry as a director, where I also had to be more talented or more knowledgeable than my own team. Because how would I lead a team who would not understand or will not believe in me? That was a challenge, to tell them, no, this is the direction, and to take decisions, and to ask them to follow me, and to ask them to, and it was a difficulty to even take a decision with something that you don't know. So a new industry and a new field. And then it's the Emirati women, perception now in media is much better than the Emirati women 10 years ago.
And Mariam, do you think that the challenge your boss gave you was because of the hard work that you put through in what you were doing at that time? Or else, how would he have challenged you in such a completely different field, knowing that you're not even experienced to do it?
I believe that, I think it's just because I was always open to take any new opportunity. And because of my personality again, I'm too social, too open-minded. I go and just talk to people. I had strong relations. And I was really strong in promoting made in UAE products worldwide. So he saw that part in me.
I think character, and one of the teachers today had that question to Her Excellency about character versus academia. Thank you, Mariam. My next question would be about if you had the chance to go back, Hind, would you had still wanted to work with a family business, knowing that starting your business, starting the company would be very difficult because everybody would underestimate and will just look at you as a boss's daughter or a relative?
Go back in time, I never knew that I'm going to join the business. I mean, it's not like because you're a family member you can join the business. It happened because I worked for the PR agency who was managing my family's business. So I was like, instead of me being here, because they didn't have someone at the corporate level to report, to deal with the PR agency. So I wanted to do that job. And it was very difficult for me to convince, my father and my uncles to allow me to do so, because I was the first girl from the family to enter to the corporate field. I mean, if there is any regret, they wanted me to be at the floor level because we're in the retail business. And I was like, absolutely not, I'm not a salesperson. Why do you want to keep me there? But today, I regret not going and experiencing that, because you need to know the basics of any business you enter to. And that would be my only regret. I would want to start lower than where I started.
Bottom-down approach.
Exactly.
Alia, if you had to go back in time, you had just graduated from university, or maybe not university, during university time, would you have still had the ambition to write a book or to be a photographer, or would you completely change it and go somewhere else now that you have the experience?
Funny enough, I remember when I was in high school, I've got all my diaries still. A lot of goals I set for myself when I was in high school are things that I actually went in and did. I know, writing a book, that was something I wanted to do, and then I wanted to be a photographer, and I wanted to do this and that. And I just dreamt, I was dreaming throughout high school of everything I'd love to do. And funny enough, those things happened for me, but in different times and spaces. So, I wouldn't do anything any different than how I've done it. I've chosen something that I love to do. So, and I'm very happy that I stood by it, because very like Shafi'a, my father wasn't very happy that I decided to go into Bachelor's of Photography. I took matters in my hands and applied for that, and then just went. So again, it's choices that I made, choices that I fought for. I wanted my voice to be heard at work. But it was all a matter, I got a lot of no's. I got a lot of no's, but because I fought for them, because I proved it, not so much just to everybody else, but to myself, that I want this. And that's, so I wouldn't do anything any differently.
So believing in yourself and being happy where you are today, What is that one advice you would give to your audience today?
A lot of, I mean, I've taught at university at AUS, and sometimes I speak to my students and they say things like, you know, oh, if my father and only if my mother would let me, or society, or like, you know, like, and their decisions of what they pursue later is based on society or family. But at the end of the day, you might do that for a while. But trust me, after a bit, it's not you. You'll end up doing what you love to do. And for me, I mean, my father is so proud of me right now. So, and he always says it. But it took me to prove myself, you know, that you have to do that step.
Follow your dream.
Yeah, exactly.
Noor, would you, if you want to go back in time, would you still want to work for Ministry of Education?
Yes, because I feel like I'm being part of the team led by Sheikh Mohammed to reach the vision of 2021. And whoever knows me from school knows that I have this in my blood. She knows that properly. So now even,
very well.
like, for example, now I'm trying to do, I'm working on a personal business. But again, I just don't want to step down until at least 2021 when we reach the goal that the country has made. Then I would tell you maybe I might go back, but until then, no, I want to see what we can achieve and make sure, because it's a big challenge, especially in the education sector, which again we were discussing in one of the camps that I was back in school, which it's not easy, and the goals that the country has put for 2021 is not easy at all, because you're dealing with students, and with education the change doesn't happen quickly. And if anything, if I go back, I mean, in terms of university studying or in terms of challenges that I stepped into or the way I dealt with the problems, I wouldn't change anything, because even if it was a bad decision that I made, it's a lesson that I'm learning right now. I wouldn't change anything.
If I had to describe you in one word, I would say passion.
Thank
you follow
you.
your passion and you make it come true.
Yes.
Thank you. And Noor, what will be that one advice you want to give to the audience today?
Actually, two advices. First is that be patient. Sometimes you'd step into people who are probably arrogant, or maybe they think that they know more than yourself. Just don't get angry. As young student, or when you first join the job, you always feel that you have a lot of energy that you want to give out. Just be patient and read more, because knowledge is power. That's where, when I'm telling you I was facing the challenge where they look at me as a young employee, but when I start to speak with them and they see the knowledge that I have, they respect me and they come and ask me questions. And I'm talking about people with a position like undersecretary level. They come back, they give me a call, and they keep on asking me, although I was only 21 years old.
Thank you, Noor. Shafia, you fought your way through being a lawyer. So I don't know if it makes sense if I ask you, if you go back, would you change anything?
Yes, I would.
What would that be?
I don't think I would start working with my father. I would work in another field, in another company, another firm, or in a legal department in a company. So I would have more experience, because apparently people were too intimidated by me because of my father, so they don't want to give me jobs, or because they didn't want their work to be, you know, when you have this new person with you at work and they just want to learn, but they're too busy. That's what I felt. They didn't have time for me. So I'd go to a firm where they would not be intimidated by who my father was, but they would just take me for me as a person. That's regarding the work, yeah.
And what is that one advice you would give them? Be Shafia?
Me, Shafia. Okay. I do agree with Noor. Just be patient. Every day is a challenge. It depends how it comes. It might be a person. It might be something that happens. You have to be ready. Take the opportunity. It doesn't have to be right. It might be wrong what you're doing, but you'll learn from it later on, and that's a lesson to learn. So don't be scared of challenges. You will be faced with people who will want to intimidate you, who will challenge you. So just be ready for it.
Thank you, Shafia.
You're welcome.
Mariam, you've gone a long way from two different fields. If you want to go back in time, would you have selected just one?
Not really. I enjoyed every single part of my journey. I started with the Department of Tourism, then Dubai Trade, Dubai World, then Department of Economic Development, and now I'm in media, and I don't know where I will be tomorrow.
So your experiences have all taught you a
Yeah,
lot.
you learn from your journey. If you enjoy every single part of it, you keep going on, and you adapt, you integrate whatever you learn from the first organization. You just adapt that into the second organization. So it's not about only being in different fields, but it's about integrating these fields. So yes, I enjoyed it, I loved it. It was hard, it was challenging, but I don't regret it, no.
And any advice you have for our audience today?
Yes, listen to yourselves and keep your options open. Never say no. Take every single challenge and use it or utilize it to your benefit. So don't stop whenever you face a challenge or a new path comes there. Don't panic. Say, oh, there might be something good for me in that. The same way I did when I had that option or opportunity to join Dubai Media. I said, okay, something new, something different, but I'll take the courage to step forward and take that challenge to transform it to an opportunity. And yes, that's what I did, and this is what I'm hoping that I will continue doing. It takes the courage, and it's not something easy to step and do.
I think one of the biggest lessons to learn today is being positive. Think positive, act positive, and always have a smile on your face. If someone in a workplace is challenging you, don't call your best friend and your mother and your sister and your father and complain about it. Don't let it be a gossip of the day. Take it and take it positively. Shafia actually photocopied papers with a bachelor degree in law. She didn't see that something beneath her. She took it positively. Hind as well, working in a family business, everybody looked at her. They were intimidated by her. They thought she'll be the next boss in the next 6 months. But she worked her way up. And she actually wanted to do more if she could go back in time. So never regret what you've done. Personally, I am working for a semi-government entity heading communications department. Not being an Arab and not speaking the language would probably say I'm not the right candidate. But I must have done something right for the company to believe in me and putting me as the head of communications and international relations in JAFSA. I advise all of you to be positive. I want to thank the panelists, but before I let them go, I would like to open the door for questions and answers. Any questions to our panelists? We have one, table 12. Yeah, you can address it to Noor, Hind, Shafia, Mariam, or Alia.
Hi, and I appreciate everything you guys have shared with us. I do have a question for Shafia and I'm sorry.
Noor?
No.
Hind.
Hind, yeah. Since both of you have experience working with family, do you advise working separately and then work with family?
So,
Actually, we have this, I mean, when I started working for the family business, we were just few family members. But recently, we've come up with a family protocol, and one of the rules, or like the mandates before you join the family business, is you have to work for an outside company before you join the family business. And you can only join the family business if you have something to bring on the table, because it's very important that you learn discipline, first of all, from a company which is not, headed by your father or your uncle. Not that you cannot learn it when you're working for the family, but it's different when you learn it from outside. So for me, I did work for another agency before I joined the family business, and it also gives you credibility. You know, you go in with knowledge, with something to bring, to actually put on the table. But if you just go there and it's your first job, I don't think you'll get that respect or the buy-in from the other employees who are there. So it's good to go with something with a background, and only join if you can add value to the family business. Don't take it for granted.
I agree with Hind. Unfortunately, I went directly into the family business, where my father works. I would advise you to have a look into the other companies, work with them, gain experience. So when you go into the family business, you are strong enough to face anything. And you'll have a background, so you'll have experience, you would face challenges as a normal employee, then you would try challenges in the firm you're working in, company, as an employee and as a family member.
And by the way, if you get into family business, it's not easy to get out.
Yes, I agree. Yes. Some of them would compare you to a family member in the company. So they would be, yes, she's the daughter of this person, so she's as great as him, or she's not as great as him. So you have to be very strong, and you have to take anything they give you, I mean, all the comments in a positive way. Anything negative, work on it. Don't let it stop you.
Hi. Okay. Many of you mentioned that you were the only woman working in your job and the rest were men. Did that ever affect you or make you feel disencouraged, or were you underestimated by any way?
Never. I think it just, being a woman and being a woman as a photojournalist, it actually worked in my favor. So I managed to get into places that maybe my colleagues couldn't, just because I was a woman. So, for example, at concerts or film screenings and things like that, I got into the VIP room. For example, a lot of women that we would interview felt more comfortable letting in a woman into her house, or sometimes they would actually open up a little bit more and be a little bit more relaxed with a woman rather than a man. I mean, not taking away anything from my colleagues, I mean, they're fantastic, but I had a lot of positive feedback being a woman.
Hi, first of all, thank you for giving us opportunities, and you showed us that woman has a real power. I want to ask Alia Shamsi. You said that you wrote a children's book. My question is, as a writer, you should feel free, but your family doesn't give you that freedom to write, or you can't write all of your thoughts. And you never felt like shy giving out your ideas or writings?
Not just shy, awkward. I mean, I totally understand. I mean, the freedom is within you, really. I mean, at the end of the day, they are your thoughts. It's very difficult to share them publicly, I agree. I mean, the book came more of a fun project that I did. My friend illustrated, I wrote the book, my friend started a publishing company. Well, okay, let's just do it, And right now it's endorsed by Dubai Culture. But it's very intimidating. It's not just your family that, read it. It's strangers, children. Oh my God, children are very, very honest honest. They're very brutally honest. So yeah, it's very risky. It's really scary. I always get scared. I also started writing poetry now, and I'm planning to issue a book, and that's like something very, very personal. But again, I mean, you need to get the courage, and you know, you still get scared. Every time I have a book reading, I'm scared reading to these children, you know? So, I mean, it's just part of the project, but it's what you love to do. It's your passion at the end of the day, and trust me, it's so gratifying in the end.
We have another question by Fatima.
I have a question to Noor Abul Hol. What made you see what made you choose this career other than personal liking, and so that this dream was reality, not just a dream?
Because in terms of Ministry of Education, because this is part of the, when you want to see change in the country, you start with students, with kids, with education, this is why I joined Ministry of Education, especially with our country having the UAE national agenda, and there's a plan, and there's a support, and even as you heard the speech by Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed in the last government summit, and the importance of education, which is after we're out of oil, we have invested in the national in human being. Sorry.
Noor is very passionate. I tried to headhunt her, it didn't work. She believes in what she's doing. Next question?
Here, we have two related questions.
I would like to ask Shafia Al-Jazari, as a lawyer, do you think men and women both have equality in this path? And do you think they both get the same opportunities?
For example, as a lawyer, do you think that men get more complex cases and more detailed cases and better offers?
I don't think so, to be honest, because see, it depends. If you're talking about criminal law and pleading in court, how people would come to you is when they see you, how you speak to the judge, how you plead. So once you're there and you give them they see what you can do, they will come to you. There are some matters where we can say we do not take those cases because of the details. So we would reject them. Or else, no, I think there is equality nowadays, but maybe 10 years ago there was not, maybe 5 years ago there was not. But when I started working, yes. There is something funny. I mean, Alia said you get to go into places as a woman. Yes, we do. We do get, people would see us usually as this nice little thing, like very sensitive and everything, sorry. So they would be nice to you, speak nicely to you more than the men. We would get, I won't say easier, but if you would want to finish some paperwork, we would finish it faster sometimes, not every time, depending on who's dealing with us. Otherwise, there are some people who would not want to deal with a woman. They would preferably go to a man. So yes. And on the other hand, you have people who would prefer working with women because they'll finish their work very fast. Sorry, يعني ما بقصدي شيء رجال اللي عنا. No offense يعني. But it depends. It's usually what the person would want.
I think it's a perception across all fields, being a lawyer or a doctor or an engineer, what is the preference dealing with a woman. But I think today, as the ladies are experiencing, I don't think you mind if you walk into a counter, you don't ask for a gender, you just want someone to help you. And that smile on your face is the most welcoming thing you can do probably when somebody's approaching you.
Amani, I just want to add something. The discrimination was not about female or male. It was more about a new person with no experience joining the company or the field. So they would prefer dealing with someone with a 15 years or 30 years experience more than a person who just entered the field. That was the discrimination, that's it.
We have two more questions here.
Hi. I have a question for Hind. Joining the business world, like, have you ever felt like you have the weight of the world on your shoulders, since running a business is not easy?
The question is for Hind?
Yeah. I mean, challenges are there all the time, but I mean, you never go in knowing what they are. You know, you face them, you know, as you progress in work. I think if you're confident with what you do and, you know, and you're open-minded, you're open to learning, to listening, and to making mistakes. I mean, there's no shame in making mistakes. But to learn, you have to learn from those mistakes. So as long as you're open-minded and you're humble, you respect everyone you're working with, you're not gonna have, you know, these challenges that you can't face. It's all within you. And how heavy or how light you will make out, you know, these challenges. So it's more how you deal with the challenges rather than how the challenges affect you. So I'd say remain humble, respectful, and always willing to learn and also to teach. It's very important that you transmit your knowledge and you help the people around you achieve certain things and not only you achieve everything. Then you have a good support system around you and your challenges can be crushed, you know, with the support system that you have.
Thank you.
Our last question?
Actually, we have two more questions. We have less than 8 minutes.
Hi, good morning. So my question is for all of you, especially those who have two jobs. How do you manage to balance your social life and having a demanding job?
Thank you.
Yes, it's a challenge, but
The moment you work, no social life.
because like the whole from early morning 6:30 I'm at the ministry until let's say 2:33. But now with all the rush and the national agenda and all of this, we don't finish at 2:30, not less than 3 or 4, and then back home. And then after that, I just make sure there's one important thing. I make sure that I sit with my mom and have the lunch with her, and then I go on to my other job. But I make sure that I have at least one day a week, or like on Friday, for example, it's just a day where I enjoy sports, so I have to try one of the sports, whether it's horse riding, it's skiing, it's biking, running, whatever it is, but you have to let it out. And then on Saturday, I have breakfast with my friends, so even with two jobs, it's fine, you can handle your social life.
When there's a will, there's a way.
Thank you, Noor.
Mahra, are we done or we have more questions? Two more.
Hello, I would like to thank you all for your advice. And I have a question for Alia. Now, you experience photography and photojournalism, and I want to ask you, do you think it's an unstable job? Do you advise us to pursue this as a career when we graduate?
I would only advise it if it's something that you feel very strongly about. It requires a lot of traveling, so it's something that I love to do. So, and it takes you places, you meet people. So say if you feel that's something that you want to do and experience, definitely I would highly suggest it, especially that, you know, living in Dubai, we're very privileged to see a lot of things. I mean, I recently visited a refugee camp, you know, a Syrian refugee camp in Amman, and the hospital there. So, you know, you watch news, but it's different when you're actually there with them and you experience these things. It gives you perspective. It makes you value life and want to change and want to make a change and impact. So being a photojournalist exposes you to things like that, to stories like these that are very important. So if you're the type of person that you feel very strongly about world issues, or you want to make an impact, you want to make a change within that field, and it works for you, then definitely it's very rewarding.
Thank you, Alia. And the last question.
Thank you all for the wonderful talk. I want to ask that being a woman is hard, but also being an Arab woman can be harder. So what advice do you give to us when you're talking with other people and you want to represent your ideas, that people don't just see your appearance?
Thank you.
I don't think that there is an issue being an Arab woman. Presenting even your appearance, wearing a hijab, especially when I used to present the government and the international missions in the ED, they respected us the way we are. We are the ones with that perception. We think that they don't respect us or respect our hijab. No, they are open-minded and they respect that. So you just have to believe in yourself, and as long as you are aware of the cross-cultural barriers and you understand their cultures, you don't try to intimidate them, understand them, and try to be soft in sending across your message. I gained a lot of personal relations. I built a lot of good relations with different governments with my hijab, with me being an Arab woman in Latin America, for example.
Be positive. I think that's the most important thing. Thank you so much, ladies. Thank you, panelists.
Okay, but as usual, I will not let a single event today go without my comment. Those of you who know me know that. I always have to have my 2 cents. Those of you who don't, ask the panelists at your table about me. Or the teacher, or the co-director. You sit there and you talk about challenges, and my greatest chapeau bas, as Her Excellency said, goes to each of you for not making your challenges ever seem like challenges. You faced them heads on and you brushed them off. And if every girl here today walks away knowing it's doable, and if you don't treat it as an obstacle, it will by itself fade away, then you've done your job. As far as I'm concerned, I sit here and I'm inspired by the 6 of you. Thank you very much for doing this, and I'm very proud.
Thank you.
Thank you, alumni, for sharing your thoughts and challenges in your workplace. Distinguished guest students, we would like to break for a short tea break. So we will come back at 11:15 sharp. Please feel free to have your drinks.
Is she doing a selfie?
Yeah.
Yes. That's when you're in media, you know? So, Mariam?
So please, 11:15 sharp.
Guys,
Get
very
back.
short water and tea break outside, but 11:15, everyone is in their seats. Team AMSI, please confirm that that happens. Moms, please stay away from your daughters. This is their day. Thank you.